Today's Coffee with Carrie, I want to talk about the top three reasons why hospitals can't wait any longer for video telehealth. Number one, the billable codes. There's a lot of billable codes that you can currently bill for video telehealth, depending upon what state you're in and what type of medicine that you practice, or if you accept Medicare and Medicaid, things of that nature. In addition to that, the ruling in February that it's going to bring in a whole new slew of codes in November, and then in January. Most hospitals that we talk to know that they have to have video telehealth, and it has to be implemented by the end of the year. The reason you shouldn't wait is you can't wait till the last minute to implement. You're talking about changing process, training doctors, training PAs, training nurses, things of that nature. And you need to be implementing it now and sooner to be able to get those processes down, get which areas of the hospital, which areas of your healthcare practice make the most sense, and be starting with that now to get the experience under your sleeve from that perspective, in order to then be fully operational when your respective codes come into play. The second one is really home healthcare is on the rise. So, you read an article, multiple times a day on, hospitals, the home healthcare, medical device companies, everything on how big their business has shifted to home healthcare over just the last 12 months. And so as more and more patients want to do kidney dialysis from home. They have their CPAPs at home, home hospice, things like that. People want to be in their own home. They don't want to be in a hospital, or they want to at least have the option. That brings up a whole slew of operational issues on how to manage that. And so, just taking a couple of those scenarios, if you have a device that goes out and you need to troubleshoot that remotely, if you have to see a patient once a month or once a week, if they're doing home health care, how do you make that manageable for the patient? And how do you, instead of having them have to come into the office, maybe they do have to come into the office once a month, but maybe there's a doctor that videos once a week, or a PA that videos once a week, to check on them and look at vitals, see how they're doing before you can order additional supplies, before you can refill medications. There's a lot of things that changes. And so how are you really addressing that home health and making it really truly home health, versus them having to really be a hybrid model? And then the last one is patients are demanding it. The patient experience is that, the reason that you see all these companies that are really thriving, and you see all the insurance providers that are providing video telehealth, is because it reduces cost. If you can have somebody video with their hospital without having to come sit in the ER, they're going to do that over and over again, versus going to that clinic on the corner at their drugstore. The reason the clinics have increased and are popping up everywhere is because when you look at the younger demographic and you look at millennials, they don't have a primary care physician. Most of them, over 60%, convenience is a bigger factor than loyalty to an actual provider. So when you really look at that and you say, well, hey, where do I build to? It shouldn't be just where do I build to. It's on how do I build those relationships with those younger patients and those busy older patients that just don't have time to spend 2 hours to come in for an appointment with drive time and waiting. And how do you build those relationships and increase that customer and that patient experience? Which patient experience and customer experience should be treated the same, because we're not measuring hospital to hospital. We're measuring that experience with what we experience when we order from an Amazon, or we go buy something online, and we want that instantaneous across all aspects of our life. So that's why you should be, if you're a hospital executive, a healthcare executive, you don't have time to wait. The time is now. You need to get the technology in place. You need to get the processes in place, the training, the organizational structure, all of that in place today, so you're not playing catch up, where you will see a big dip in revenue and loss of patients. That's today's Coffee with Carrie.